Level Up series, right? Okay, so let me just share the agenda for today. We've got Vishal Jain, who will start as a convener, and welcome all of you. We are very fortunate that Kumar Palji has joined us today. He is the current JPF chairman. He will say a few words welcoming and giving you some sense of idea of what JPF and what are some of the plans for JPF. After that, of course, we get into the main topic, which is the small moves, big outcomes, compounding effects. And here we have distinguished speakers, mentors, which is Prashant Jain and Neetu Sethia. After that, when we finish the discussions, we are going to have a little bit of a talk about what the mentorship program is all about. Then we will open it up to Q&A. Feel free to write your questions in the chat box. We will pick them up from there, curate it, and then present it to our speakers and mentors. Big welcome to all of you. And then, of course, we will have an open forum where you could unmute, ask questions, whether it is related to the topic of the day or whether it is about the mentorship program or any other things that you would like to share related to JPF. Finally, we end with a vote of thanks. And the plan is to end at 11:30. So 10 o'clock to 11:30 is the time we are going to be spending in this wonderful session today. So thank you so much, and over to you, Vishalji.
Thank you, and Jai Jiren, everyone. And so glad to see all of you, to be many of you back here. I think we had this forum running and then we took a pause, and I'm so excited that with leadership of Kumar Palji and Rajeshji and rest of JPF team members, we are back here. As we say, the topic is level up. You level up when you really do the hard work, grow, learn every single day, and take the right call, make the right choice. And I think you've taken the right choice to join on Sunday morning, spending this time with us. And I hope you get good worth of your time. I will come back after our initial talk by Prashant Neetu about mentorship program and what we intend to do. But let me first now invite here Kumar Palji, who is the JPF chairperson, for a few words.
Jai Jinendra, everybody. Thank you, Vishalji. Wonderful, wonderful initiative. First of all, it gives me an immense pleasure to welcome each one of you to this very special morning. The relaunch of one of our most impactful and a flagship initiative under JITO Professional Forum, the mentorship program. And under mentorship program is this level up series, like Vishalji rightly said, you kind of level up to the place where you are currently in, and that's where you are looking forward to be here. As professionals, we all recognize that our journey, whether personal or career oriented, are never walked alone. At every stage, a guiding hand and a wise words or a thoughtful nudge from a mentor can make all the difference. Mentorship isn't just a support system, it's a catalyst, one that can unlock our potential, shape our thinking, and evaluate us to the level which may never have imagined on our own. This vertical is just not another program under JPF, it's a cornerstone, it's a space where experience meets aspiration, where growth is not just encouraged but nurtured. That's why we are thrilled to reintroduce and re-energize this initiative with Level Up Series, a monthly platform where our mentors will come together and share insights, address diverse professional domains, and engage deeply with individual professionals. I think on the larger aspect of it, I think Vishalji will explain it in much more detail. The entire vertical mentorship vertical is being spearheaded by none other than our own Vishal Jain, MD Accenture, and our national, who is also a national convener for mentorship at JPF. Vishalji has been instrumental in shaping this vision and driving it with passion and purpose. And what a way to kickstart the relaunch. We are privileged to have Ms. Neetu Sethia, MD Accenture, and who's also our national convener at Corporate Executive Vertical at JPF with us today. Neetu brings a wealth of knowledge, leadership, and real-world insight that are sure to inspire us all. Joining her, the dynamic Mr. Prashant Jain, an accomplished speaker and a familiar face across GPF and JITO programs. We are truly looking forward to the wisdom they'll all share today with us. To all our mentors, a heartfelt thank you for being a pillar of this initiative. Your time, knowledge, and willingness to guide others is what makes this program so powerful. And to our participant, welcome aboard to this journey as much as yours, it is ours as well. Thank you once again and looking forward to a very insightful program. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
And I
so
just
much.
And I just
Yes.
wanted to add, I also wanted to welcome our youth wing members. I think many from joined from there. It's fantastic. I think there is so much of synergy between what we're trying to do along with the youth wing. So glad to have them also join us. Many of them joined today. Over to you, Sushma ji.
Thank you so much. And uh, it'd been great if people can come on camera. And Rikhabji, if you could just come, you just put JPF and then you removed it. He's been really instrumental, very excited about the students and doing things for people. And we welcome all of you and look forward to fantastic synergies and collaboration across different verticals of JITO so that we can make this really, really a meaningful program. So, but now coming to what is today's program all about? As most of you have already seen, it is all about small moves, big outcomes. Now, is that really true? When we really look at it and we go backwards, I mean, we think, okay, somebody's got this type of a success story. I remember even Ajay Bora sharing in the previous Level Up series, he said, people see the success, but what about the hard work and the small things that have been done consistently over time, about 7 years, 10 years worth of hard work, consistency, not giving up. Is it really something big? Or are there small things like maybe which meeting you attended, maybe what email you wrote or you didn't write, how you showed up? And also when we're looking at the JITO Professional Forum, we are looking at, okay, as a professional, at different stages and phases of our entire career, at entry level, what are those small moves? At mid-management level, what are the small moves? And even if you're at seniors, are there certain moves? Or is it all done? So let's really hear from two wonderful mentors, Prashant Jain here, who has come in, and of course, he has mentored a number of people, not only in JITO, but also across organizations. Prashant Jain comes with over 40 years of 4 decades of experience, and currently he is with L&T as head corporate sector. We know him, and my interaction with him has been over years, very, very focused, always ready to help, extremely humble, and so giving. In JITO also, he has done numerous things. He actually is one of the founding members of the Jain, and currently he holds the position of Vice Chair JBN, and is responsible for mentoring people in the industry sector. Knowing more about Prashantji, we could go on, but I think I would like to really hear more about him and his thoughts. So with that, Prashantji, I'm going to just stop and let people go to your LinkedIn profile, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely fine.
Okay, now the next person I'd like to introduce here is Neetu Sethia. Kumar Palji has already mentioned her. And Neetu, I'm just going to spotlight you, right? And she is MD Accenture. And personally, what gives me great pleasure is that we have a woman as well as a man here. Like previously, we used to have generally mostly the males. Hey, more woman power. And let's have more. And this is what we were just talking about in the green room, if I call it, that what are the future, Yes, let's see more and more diversity also here. And Neetu, I'm sure you'll bring different perspectives to this as to what is it. Neetu, of course, is very calm, And I think it's all about the yoga that she does and all the exercise that she does. It keeps her calm and grounded. Huh? She is based out of Chennai and is also part of our JPF mentorship core team. So it's wonderful working with you, Neetu. Currently, I know you're actually a lot of your industry background is in the IT sector, right? So while Prashantji's is in the energy sector, yours is in the IT sector. So shall we get into really the program and questions?
Sure.
Have we set? Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, so I think what I really like to know and getting into this whole topic, what does this topic really mean? And I would like to invite Prashantji, you know, would you like to share something and maybe 3 to 4 minutes at the beginning? Because we really like to get to know a little bit more about you and your career and your journey. Decision or a habit that you made early in your career that really had a huge impact. Love to hear something about that. Over to you, Prashantji.
Yeah. Very good morning, everyone. Jai Jinendra. I'm very humbled to see the participants, of many of whom in this call I can learn from, and super excited to be here. When the topic of level up is fascinating, and if I have to be grateful today to what I am, it is about the immense amount of opportunities to learn that has brought me here. So that is fundamental. So what I'm going to do is on the on the first phase, I'll share that there was a survey done by one of my large organizations on what makes companies last for 100 or 150 years. So they did this survey, what made these companies last for more than 100 years, and the fundamental finding was number one was values. Surprisingly, they said that the foundation of any large sustainable leader or an organization is values. Now, what is value to do with success? I think we are all seeing today's context, several leaders actually losing because of ethics. But value also creates trust. So that is one foundation. And how did that foundation personally for me get laid is for most of us who are in Jain family. Every day, sometime reading the scriptures. I think there's some background noise I'm getting from some.
Let
Yeah,
me just
now
check.
it's gone now. So values is the fundamental, and to get connected to values, it is very important to understand who you are, what you represent, and why do you what you do. So the journey starts from me and ends with me is the kind of value set that empowers you to become a great leader. So I'll give you a shlok, and then probably I'll give you an example of what happened with me in my career. So there's this Natyad Bhutam Bhuvana Bhushana Bhutanatha Bhutair Gunair Bhuvi Bhavantam Abhishtuvanta Tulya Bhavanti Bhavato Nanu Tenu Kimva Bhutya Shritam Yahya Natma Samam Karuti. What this says is, oh God, why will not anybody come to you? Because you have those qualities that you actually make anybody who comes to you become like you. Which means that if I'm going to a mentor, that is the quality that I need to look for in a mentor so that I become like him and I idolize him. So as I grew up in my career, there were a couple of engineer family members whom I was deeply inspired with. And when I was inspired with them, I just wanted to become like them. So I just wanted to be an engineer because two of them were engineers. And I just looked at them, the way they conducted, the way they organized themselves. That was the first ambition that came to my life because I saw some idol and I wanted to become like them. And over the career, interestingly, as I moved into the career, the first program that I got into was based on the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, an executive program in Siemens. That was about 22 years ago. And interestingly, what they taught was very simple, right? They said, ego, you need to solve. and you need to find a solution which is win win win. Win for you, win for the business, and win for the society. Now, when I heard those simple principles, ego, we heard that from the beginning as Jains, that Krodh, Man, Maya, Lobh, we should give up. But now, here in the workspace, they were saying the same thing, but coming out of a Stephen Covey book to say, okay, you should not have ego, you should have style flex. Now, that learning helped me to say, okay, look, what do I need to do? I need to follow my value system, and that I can apply at work, and actually I can be successful if I just apply my fundamental value system and the learnings that I got as a child into the workplace. So this is kind of the foundation that I got early on in my career that helped me navigate several complexities in my career. So I can share a bit more about that. So what happened was, when I was in Siemens at that time, as a sales executive, there was a lot of politics, of course. But one thing which was common was there were 2, 3 groups in the office, but every group was able to get along with me because they knew they could trust me. So naturally, I became the focal point for trust and advice. So anybody would come and talk to me for advice. The second thread that I want to share is that in entire career, the worst bosses and the worst challenges have been the opportunities that have made me what I am. So I'm very grateful to that manager who was extremely challenging. And he was very clear and he told me, Prashant, you have to do my work so that I can do my boss's work. I make him happy, you make me happy. I was just a sales engineer, he was the branch manager. He would leave at 5:30 in the evening to play badminton, but he would give a ton of work to me to do. And then he would come back in the morning at around 9:30, 10. I would still be late in the evenings working hard, but learning what he was supposed to do that. And therefore I got to get such a tremendous learning opportunity. But this was also an interesting learning, right? If you can help your boss to become successful, he becomes successful, and then you become successful, and his boss maybe becomes successful. Of course, in this story, what happened was the boss quit eventually, but I became the natural choice because I was the one who knew it all, what was happening in the department. Everybody was trusting me, and that helped me get my first position, simply by trust and by understanding what was needed by my boss to be successful, and then just doing that the hard way. So I would take a pause here, maybe. There are some more interesting stories that I would like to share, but maybe then, we'll come back again.
That's so wonderful. I mean, it's great to hear this, because I think a lot of us now, sometimes there are things that keep coming up for us, and things like, okay, we need to showcase ourselves. We keep talking about executive presence, personal branding. There's so many of these management jargons that keep coming up. And then on the other side, we have you say something like, one of the values was let go of your ego. And we'd love to hear later on about this whole balance between that ego and self-branding. Because branding is what, and visibility, creating visibility is what sort of we think that it helps us to go ahead. Okay, not only that, what I picked up is also, you were the one who was they trusted across departments, across various things, and therefore, and the third point I think which is very important was make your boss look good and do his job, and you'll definitely succeed. So don't, if you have to work hard and wait in the night and your boss is playing badminton, don't become negative and don't resent it. Take it as a learning opportunity, I think is one key thing that I'm picking up. Right. So thank you so much for that. And let's move over to Neetu and let's hear her story. I'm sure you've got tons to say and you've mentored so many people. So just tell us what makes you successful and what makes you Neetu.
Thank you, Sushmaji. I think firstly, I just want to begin by saying that I'm there on this platform, I guess for a reason. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank Vishal, right, and Kumar Palji, of course, um, for giving me this platform wherein there is an opportunity to learn as well as, give back. That's the way I'll put it in simplistic terms, right? My 25 years of journey, first few things that I believe I have truly picked up, and I'm kind of jumping into this trait, is know what your strengths are, because you will always play to your base strengths, And that is something that will go a long way. You can build on a number of things, but then there is a natural trait which will be your core strength. That is what will help you build the base and have an USP. You should have a USP of your own. You should be known for something, right? We can call it branding, we can call it, give it different names. But if we have to be successful and if we have to go beyond success, it's one thing that I learned really hardcore was to be able to get to that significance, right? Quote unquote significance, so that you can actually give back and be of value to everybody else around you, be of value to the business. Know what your USP is so that people will know what they can reach out to. And Prashantji spoke about trust, value system. Have an enviable value system. There is no two parts to this. There is no options to that. There are no cutting corners to it. It just has to be keeping the heart in the right place and then going bang on, right? That is one thing that I learned. And every role that we play, we're not going to be successful the first time, right? There are going to be hits and misses. Right now, one thing that one of my mentors taught me, when I actually started out my career in Accenture, was ensure that your career going forward is going to be like a hockey stick, right? It only has to go higher and higher. Now, if you take the hockey stick, if you take that career under the microscope, there will be those heaps and valleys that will be there, but then largely the trajectory will be on the high, right? So that was something that kind of was pretty intriguing, to ensure that what is it that I would do every other day that will help build that trajectory, right? There are innumerable stories, and not all stories of success will catch all, right? Sometimes stories of failures are also extremely significant. Not for us to lose sight of it because they are not truly failures. That is where that is what allows us to grow, right? So those are those growth paths, those are those hotspots that allow us to really say what those discomforts have been and how we've grown out of those discomforts. And one thing that I broadly learned from my experience is, if you're not uncomfortable in any given situation, then you're truly not growing, which means you're actually operating in your comfort zone. So always find something that you will do that will challenge yourself, because not anybody else will get to set standards for you. You get to set standards for yourself, and always keep a bar much higher, so that not just your teams, like what Prashantji said. I think it's a norm in the corporate that your bosses, your super bosses, your teams, everybody is just working towards a goal. It is just that we all assume different roles to play to that goal. What are those little things that you will do while you strengthen your talents, while you strengthen your skills per se, as you will contribute to the broader goals and focus of the of whatever you're expecting to achieve, right? Whatever that vision is. Have a vision for yourself, right? Like, fundamentally, and I keep telling this to everybody, and I'll use a very recent example. Post COVID, my focus actually pivoted from just focusing on being heads down in work, to what people are thinking about it, because that was the time when all of us were so vulnerable, and we needed to really understand how to cope with those situations, because work moved home. Our homes are not designed to be focused on, I mean, our homes are not designed for working from home per se, right? And people were struggling, especially, I wouldn't just say discount that only women were struggling, but then there were a lot of women that were also struggling, like especially the mid careers, right? So hearing them out, coaching them, showing them perspectives, and then telling what their strengths are and how they can navigate through those situations, helping them build their base, consistently moving through day by day, not having any shortcuts to success. I think that kind of helped me strengthen my ability to say, what is it, how I can do do coaching differently, how I can do mentoring differently, and how I can improve myself differently. right? So that was one thing that I kind of really picked it up, and I kind of continue to harness on it, because as much as it helps me identify what that compounding effect is, because the more you kind of build your competence, it builds confidence, it builds confidence, it builds competence, so that loop goes on and on. And I think there is also a leadership a theory which calls about the confidence competence loop as well, right? So it goes on and that is so real, right? So I will just take a pause here, because this is exactly what it is for me in my career, through the journey that I have been, the 2.5 decades that I have been in corporate. Keeping the heart in the right place, having your own USP, building your own standards, whatever it takes, right? There is no one set framework, there is no one size that will fit all. It will all be driven by what your ecosystem is, what your values are, or what your backing up is all about, and what you think is the right thing for you to do based on what you wish to achieve. But the rule is, once you have identified all of this thing, consistently move towards those steps, right? What is it? Those small steps. Nobody will observe those steps day 1, day 2, day 100, day 200, but you will know internally how much you're growing, and someday it will just become so natural that everybody will start observing it as well. Now, with this, Sushma ji.
Thank you. Thank you so much, And of course, I mean, wonderful to learn that even you had a mentor, and, and failures, definitely make a huge difference, because that's what we remember, especially when we bounce back from it. Okay, now you've taken a pause, Prashant ji has taken a pause, and I'm going to take a pause. And how is that pause? Because now we really have, I think most of the people who were to join us have joined us. And we want to make this whole session very meaningful for everyone. So request everyone to please engage, and you can write your questions or in the chat box. We will pick it up. Please type it there in the chat box. Sayogji, Vishalji, me, we are all monitoring that. And in the meantime, to make it really meaningful and focused on who we are and who is attending today, I'm going to just launch a short poll. Request all of you to answer. There are 3 questions in that poll. Please answer. It's a little bit in terms of your age. It's about how you're employed. And it also gives us an idea about, which sector you work in, so that we can really cater to your needs and keep it focused on the people who are attending today. Request everyone, please, to answer this. It's a quick poll, just so that we can cater our questions and our answers to the people who are attending today. I can still see it moving. Thank you so much for responding, and request everyone to respond. That'll be wonderful. Another 30 seconds. There are 3 questions in the poll. Okay. I also see that, in which sector you're employed, what's your professional background. There's a number of people, almost 50% have chosen other. So if you could write in the chat box which one, because it's not mentioned here as one of the choices. Yeah, okay. So another 5 seconds and I'm closing the poll. Okay. Right. So thank you so much for responding. And, for everyone, let's share the results of this poll. So who we have here? Surprisingly, most of the people are in the 40 to 60 year age bracket, and rest are more or less equally divided. So we have people who are less than 20, really youngsters, probably getting ready to look at what is career and what it is all entails. And then there's some people who would probably be in entry level, and then people who have a fair amount of experience. On the other hand, we have more than 50% are working in the corporate sector. There are about 23% who are self-employed, and 10% who are not working. There's nobody in the other, right? I mean, retired. Okay, IT sector 25%, finance 15, the 19, legal 8, and other is 48. And in the other, I think if we look at it in the chat box, we have like the design and construction, energy, healthcare, education, information services, chemicals. So, okay, I'm a Tupperware manager, digital marketing, undergraduate student. All right, so great. Thank you. We've got a very nice, diverse group, and we will ask up. I'm going to just stop sharing, and we will ask Prashantji and Neetu to also, address different types. If you have a tip for somebody who is an entry level, does that same tip hold for middle management or somebody who's self-employed? How would it be? So thank you so much for answering, and let's go back to Prashantji and Neetuji with questions. So thanks. So, what you shared, I love it. It gives us a lot of direction and gives us a framework that we're working in. But I would really like to know, give me a story, give me an incident, give me something that you did, which we can all learn from, which actually looks like, अरे ये तो बहुत छोटी सी बात है, it's a small thing, but actually had a huge impact in the way people viewed you and the way your career went leaps and bounds. So Prashantji, over to you.
So I think one area maybe is about simple questions: how, what, and why. This sounds very simple, but a lot of times we have an ego. I know it all, or we have assumptions. अरे वो तो political है, अरे वो तो मुझे पसंद नहीं करता है. So I think the big challenge I see when people are driven by ambition, driven by power, or driven by a goal, they somehow miss people. And they sometimes miss to ask simple questions: how, what, and why. And but if you look at it, the entire journey of success or failure rides on these three simple questions. And to say that it's important to make the aircraft, but it's also important to make the parachute so that you're safe. So therefore, it's important to understand the opportunity at the same time to understand the risk. Now, having given this theory, I'll probably give you a very early on example of my career. I was trying to get into a job. My classmate was already in the company. So he organized interview with his boss. He said, Prashant, you come for this interview. Normally, after the interview, 24 hours, he will give the offer. So, ho jata hai, tum aa jao, we'll meet him. I went, met his boss. We had a casual, good conversation. What do you do? What do you want to do? I was just selling computer stationery, floppy disk at that point in time. And ITL servo stabilizers, UPS systems, a very small job for 1500 rupees. And I was interviewing for this job. Now I went back to my house. Nothing came back in 3 days, 4 days. Suddenly on Sunday, then nothing came back. I thought maybe I've lost it. On Sunday, my classmate called me and said, Prashant, sorry, yaar, wo boss ko hi fire karke chale gaye. So he's lost his job. Now we'll have a new manager, then we'll see. Now, after a month or so, the new manager came in. I went to meet him. The first question he asked, अच्छा तो तुम वो पुराना मैनेजर का आदमी है उसके पास आया था. Fine, give me your CV, I'll see it. I'll call you maybe in 2 weeks when the regional manager comes. So now I kept calling 2-3 times and finally he gave me a meeting. He said, okay, you know what, come on so and so date. That day my regional manager is coming. We will introduce you to him and he will take the interview. I was at that time having a wedding in my first cousin, my Tauji's daughter, so my first cousin in Mumbai. Everybody in our house was there in the wedding, and I just came back one day early. Pretty much the only person in the large family. I'm talking about 25 years ago. And I came back, put on my tie, went to the office for an interview. Now, enter the office. There's this guy sitting all alone. There's nobody around him. And he's looking at me as if why I'm there. I said, sir, आपने बोला था आने के लिए regional manager आएगा. He said, no, वो आया नहीं है. There's nothing happened. Sir, मैंने तो आपको बोला था मेरी cousin की wedding है, पर आपने बोला आपको job चाहिए तो आप आ जाओ. So I have come, wedding छोड़ के आया हूँ. All right, sit down. Tell me, what do you know about the product? I said, yeah, my classmate told me that you make contactors. You have contactors that are bread and butter of your company. He said, no, they are not my bread and butter. Tell me, what else do you know about the product? I said, yeah, this is what I know. He said, okay, fine. You don't know the product. Tell me, what are the terms and conditions of the quotation? Now, I couldn't understand his question. I said, sir, what do you mean? He said, tell me, what are the terms and conditions that you normally will put in the quotation? I was pretty new at that time, hardly 2 months out from college, hardly done anything around that. So I said, sir, aap kya keh rahe hain? I've not been able to understand. Can you please explain the question? He said, APGST, CST, वो सब नहीं होता है. मैंने कहा, हाँ सर, वो तो होता है ना, standard terms and conditions quotation के नीचे छपा हुआ होता है. उसमें क्या है? He said, fine, okay, thank you. Product के बारे में कुछ पता नहीं है. Commercial terms and conditions भी कुछ पता नहीं है. Okay, fine, we'll let you know. Thank you. Now, to me, like this was like the world coming to an end. There was, what do I do? So I got up and I asked him a question. Sir, आपका lunch हो गया क्या? So that guy was suddenly looking at me कि ये क्या बोल रहा है? I said, sir, आपका lunch हो गया क्या? क्यों? मैंने कहा, सर, अगर आपका lunch हो गया नहीं है, मैं disturb नहीं करना चाहता, पर हो गया है तो I would want if you can give me 10 more minutes of your time. Why? I said, sir, ठीक है, मुझे समझता है अभी, I don't know the product, but you said terms and conditions of contract, CST, AP, GST. Probably, I think I can learn this in 2 to 3 weeks. Don't you think anybody can learn that? He said, yeah, anybody can learn. It depends on your appetite and interest. Sir, I'm very interested. I have a lot of appetite. I will definitely learn. I think asking that one question, finally, when I thought the world was over, gave me that opportunity to get back into the game, and then came back and then got selected, and actually he gave me a 3,000 salary, which was almost a double jump at that point in time in the career. See, what happened at that time possibly was persistent. That was an age 30 years ago, but today's mobile persistence does not work. Everybody's persisting around. But I was being chased by my previous employer for a role for about a year, and I was saying no. Finally, they convinced me कि आप आके हमारे एक बार president से मिलिए तो सही. We want to carve out a role for you. So now this is a job I did not want. This is a job that they were chasing me for a year to join, roughly about 6 years ago. Now this president calls me for lunch in Oberoi in Gurgaon, Trident Oberoi in Gurgaon. I go for breakfast. Now when we meet, the first thing he asks, tell me why are you here? Why do you want this job? Now my ego says, Sala tumne bulaya, ek saal se to piche pade ho. Huh? And I have not come here. You have called me. And now you're asking me the question, why I really want this job? I don't want this job. This is what I wanted to tell. And scream at him. I said, to hell with you. I'm not here for an interview. So I just laughed at him. I said, I'm here to find out. And when I laughed and said, I'm here to find out, the ball went back to his court. He laughed at it. We both sat down. And that atmosphere suddenly became very friendly. Now, that small moment could have, created an awkward moment or a weird moment. But that small moment just turned around because of this curiosity to find me. I'm here to find out and just converting that into humor. Now, this sounds easy, right? I'm also the one that's come from a very hard background. Always are we very afraid कि यार पैसा मिलेगा ज़्यादा थोड़ा पैसा जमा होगा तो शादी करूँगा, घर खरीदना है, गाड़ी खरीदना है. I've gone through that entire curve with almost nothing. So we had always fear driving us. But I think what helped is a 30 minutes of reflection, going into yourself, believing in yourself, calming yourself before meetings, calming yourself with meditation, that belief, that helps, at times to deal with such moments, and without losing your cool or without losing your ego, to be able to just, uh, connect at times with people and then create a conversation and move forward. So I'm just giving you small examples of the actual small things that have actually got me forward. uh, I'm, the second thing I wanted to share was mentors, right? I have had, when I was made this offer, my team member in my team had actually worked in that company previously. So I went to him for a reverse mentoring. I said, यार तूने वहाँ पे काम किया, मेरे को opportunity वहाँ से आ रही है. How did you find that company? What do you think about it? And then he said, Hey, Prashant, that was fantastic. Amazing. This is great. That is great. I'm very happy that you asked me. So I did not feel sad, or I've had several times where my mentees, when I knew their strengths, I've actually gone back to mentoring, and I've got reverse mentoring benefits several times in my career. So all I'm saying is the answers necessarily is not always there with the powerful people or the big people. The answers are somewhere around with also your mentees or with your colleagues. And there are several times when I'm stuck, I simply have a conversation with my wife, and she is very simply asking why, what, how, and that helps me straighten out my mind. And this is the last thing that I learned in a program in China, which I'm sharing as a thought, which was that when you have a strong feeling, it is important to name a feeling to tame a feeling. It's a very simple thought. Name a feeling, you tame a feeling. So sometimes in a meeting, you get irritated, you are not comfortable, you are frustrated, you are angry. It's important to immediately recognize, oh, I'm angry. And the moment you name the feeling, you can tame the feeling. No. Now I want to do this different. I think this is a simple, tactical, practical experience that I've been able to deploy. And there are several situations I can tell you honestly that you want to quit, resign, throw the resignation letter on your boss's face, and move out. But at that same time, if you can just name that feeling, I'm frustrated, let me sleep on it and let me come back and think about it. Why am I feeling this? How can I solve it? So I think that's a small but simple technique that has helped me several times in my career. Pausing here, Sushma ji, and then maybe we'll look at some questions and come back.
Wow, thanks so much. I mean, I've picked up so many points. I, if I have to really summarize whatever the points, I have picked up the small moves. One is asking the right questions. And we know, I mean, it's all about even Simon Sinek, those who have read, I mean, he became famous because of his start with why. Why are you doing what you're doing? For each one of us, whether it's a company or asking the right type of questions, framing the questions appropriately. Because just a small change in the question itself, your framing determines the quality of answers. Good quality questions give us good quality answers. Sense of humor, you know, when you said, when somebody asked you, then, having that emotional intelligence, presence of mind, everything, to use humor to diffuse the situation and go ahead. And of course, EI, emotional intelligence, name the feeling. And Prashant ji, thank you so much. You answered that first question I asked you about the ego. I mean, so that whole ego you put aside and you went for reverse mentoring. You may be more senior, experienced, everything, but you still went for reverse mentoring. Thank you so much. You answered those questions so beautifully, and small things which make a huge difference in the way people view us, the people trust us, and how it impacts career eventually. So Neetu ji, I would love to know, from you, okay, you shared an example of, maybe an entry level, a job, etc. Now, being a woman and in the corporate, are there any special things that you do or any special situation that you have faced which would help you get into your career? And is it true that women eventually hit that glass ceiling? और नहीं करना है तो क्या करना है?
I would answer this in different ways, right? So first thing is yes, they might be seen differently, especially in light of where there was a practice in corporate where diversity was considered a thing, right? There was a percentage to say, hey, performance hoga, so there has to be a percentage where you have to consider women, folks, and gender diversity, right? So there would be a situation where sometimes even if you put in that hard work and you were neck to neck with your competition, they would still think, oh, you were a woman and hence you got it. So that was a real challenge that some of us had, and I used to have people that would come back to me and then say, hey, ye kya ho raha hai? What's going on, right? We've put in this effort, we've been neck to neck, we've also worked round the clock, and then despite that we just tapped into to say, hey, this is because it was a diversity quote unquote quota, right? um, how do we deal with it, right? So I think at some point culturally, because of certain things, the glass ceiling would be there, but then there are women that are beyond all of that right now and then want to really propel forward. Now that was one big challenge that we had to be able to go back and position ourselves and present ourselves with that outlook to say, hey, this is not because of a diversity, it is because we come with that skill and competence. Now, what do you have to do differently? Either you can choose to get arrogant about it, or choose to say, how do I demonstrate this day to day through my work and through the way I present myself, that executive presence in those meetings, using my voice to say that, hey, I'm not a quote unquote a women or a diversity thing. It is, a competition at the same level, and I am striking those goals in the same plane as you are, right? So those behaviors especially, I think, are very key, not just for ourselves, but also to help others understand. And diversity was just an example, but I think this goes across the board, right? Irrespective. To say that, and it's not just that women will hit the glass ceiling, anybody can potentially hit that ceiling, right? Now, what do you do differently about it? Understanding what those shortcomings are, and I have faced that, myself, right? And that was a point when I was also, I got to a point where to say, hey, how can I build or broaden my perspective so that I can get beyond those blocks and start seeing things differently? Because only when you start seeing things differently, in light of the pain or the block that you're going through, are you going to create opportunities for yourself. No opportunity is going to come to us in a platter, and I think that's one thing I have learned really hard. So you have to create your own opportunities, and you have to go through what you have to go through. And like I said, there is no escape route to that. And this was one example to say how you push yourself forward with the way people think about you, build those perspectives and change that thinking, not because, "Arey, I want to show him who I am," but you have to show yourself who you are in light of that, right? So that's the way I look at it, Sushma ji.
Thank you so much, and really appreciate all this. And yes, whether there's a glass ceiling, it could be for everyone. And, interestingly, there is something related to that, which is coming up as a question in the chat box. However, before we take the questions of the chat box, please keep that coming, and we will curate it and we will take it up and ask Prashantji and Neetuji to answer some of these questions from the chat box, which you are putting there. I think it's a good time at this point, Vishalji, to tell people about what is the mentorship program, because there was a question there also, that does the JPF help me with my career? There's a question right here. Let me just look at it. Okay. We'll pull it up, but there were questions about,
Yep.
whether you help me with my career and answer that and what it is all about. So I think this is just as good a time as any to take a pause, let everybody know, and then we continue with the questions. What do you say?
Sure.
Okay, Neetuji, I'm just going to unspotlight you and Prashantji for the time being, and put the spotlight on Vishal. We will come back to both of you. Vishalji, are you ready?
So, Ratika, if you can share the deck, please. Thank you. So I'll take about 5 minutes, everyone, just to touch upon the forum, and then we'll come back to the Q&A. Happy to take more questions as well. Just if you can play the video as well, Ratika, right? And then it's about a minute and 10 seconds. Some of you joined at the beginning would have seen it, but we'll just play it. Thank you. If you can show the slides. So yeah, so I think that video captured the essence of mentorship. And I think in the world of Google and ChatGPT and so many tools, I'm sure you all agree that there is real value in finding the right word of advice from somebody who has walked that experience before. That's what we are trying to enable through the mentorship program. Our tagline is where experience meets curiosity. So it is not about somebody being senior or junior. We all are learners and we all are seekers. We all can grow much more in our career, make a big, broader impact of in the organization as well as the world across. And we should benefit from each other's experience. So that's the crux of mentorship program. Go to the next slide, Ritika. Just crux, I think JITO, many of you are familiar, certainly 73 chapters in India, 31 international chapters, several wings and projects. There are 12, 13 of them. One of them is JITO Professional Forum, which is where we are falling in. It's a very large, professionally run organization across all sects of Jains. Many distinguished programs all over. The one recent one was about Navka Divas, where PM Modi and 22 chief ministers joined on that one single day. That just talks about how organization comes together and the power and the influence and the motto around promoting seva, promoting gyan, promoting economic empowerment within the community. Okay. Going next, mentorship program is within JPF. As I mentioned, the tagline is helping aspiring Jain professionals with accomplished ones. Let people learn from each other. Going to the next, Ritika. Again, our intention there is that any Jain professional should not be left without a right word of advice. One need not to be a member of JITO at the moment. Anybody can become. Yes, you need to be a Jain professional and you can learn. And our intention is to connect people, the top Jain professionals across the world, across industries, across geographies with the rest of the community for the mutual learning and growth. Okay. There are many different ways we will conduct the program. Again, today is our, after a long pause, we are restarting the series. We will pick up relevant themes. It could very well be around, hey, how do I pick the right course? As an example, there was a question that, should I pursue MBA or not, or should I do a certification or not? It could be a question about, should I pursue option in the US versus India? Should I still pursue a foreign education or foreign career or not? It could very well be a question around, I'm doing internship in legal, as somebody asked, what do I do? Should I change? It could very well be around AI in general, that what do we do in the world of AI? What career will look like in 5 years from now? So it's a very broad base. And I think that's what we would aim, that we will pick up relevant topic and to really make sure that we are really helping the community to really share the right thoughts and exchanges. Next, so this is our journey. About a couple of years back, we had 13 level up series. We had about 400 mentees. We ran one-to-one mentorship sessions. This was our first year anniversary thing. After that, we continued. So we had overall 400 session or so. But now going to the next one, what we're talking about is, again, these are some of the flyers about FAQs, who can become the member and why one should become a member. Going to the next, basically what we have right now is 60 odd mentors on the platform. They are from all different parts of the world. I think Rekabji joined just now from Singapore. Amit joined from Chennai. Likewise, there are people in the US, in India, across different corners, different industries, different profile. Our intention is that eventually we will have more such mentors who are from different walks of life, who are there on the platform available for mentorship. And that mentorship could very well be in terms of level up series, like the one we are having this today. We will run this series every single month. We could also offer some specialized sessions, again, virtually. We also intend to really have some of the group mentoring done, which will be a group of about 10 to 15 or 20 odd people on a specific topic. And we could also do some of the conclaves, which we are planning to do. So one happening in Bangalore, JPF Fest, end of May or June 1. Likewise, there are respective chapters. I think we are planning to conduct some of the conclaves. We are planning one CXO conclave in 3 months from now. We will share the details. This will be like a first ever JPF conclave across across the nation to bring professionals from all different walks of life together. This is a slide about our team members. Sushma ji is a very accomplished leadership coach. She's one of the top 100 leadership coaches in the world. She got so many awards. Sayog ji is again an amazing consultant and leadership coach. Amol, senior director from SL Technology based out of Pune. Neetu, you just heard. Rahul Jain, head of wealth management, regional health management, and ICICI Bank based out of Bangalore. And Ritika is part of the JITO Apex Secretariat. Again, all of us are very passionate about this cause and doing this as our bet. But I think we need more hands. So if anyone who is willing to join hands, who is willing to contribute, feel free to raise. And we would love to really have you on board with us, right? Going to the next slide is just, these are some of the mentors we just inducted. Nishit Jain, I think Nishit joined in the call today. He's on the road, but he joined. He's Executive Vice President in IndusInd Bank. Anita Shah, CEO of Investor Protection Board in Government of India. Mukesh Jain, CTO of Capgemini, and Neetu just heard. Okay, so going to the next slide, how you can participate. First of all, just a reminder that we all can learn and we all can benefit and learn from each other. So Level Up series will be one thing we will be doing every single month. We would run some specific group mentoring on specific topics. That is more like a closed room setting. You can ask questions to the mentors freely. It could be virtual or physical. We will run one-to-one mentorship as well. We are trying to work out the logistics there, which could very well be physical or virtual, and then conclaves and events. Ratika, if you can share your details, Ratika, your number as well as your email ID on the chat, that would be one way for us for you to connect with us. We will include you in the JPF Mentee group so that in future you can get the communication from our side as and when we organize one. Okay, so thank you so much. We'll be happy to answer questions when we open it up for Q&A, including around mentorship program. With that, over back to you, Sushma ji.
Okay, thank you so much, Vishalji, for that quick introduction to the program and mentorship. And what we really look to is please keep your questions coming. And this time I'll just ask Sayogji, because he's been monitoring the chat box, I know. Is there anyone which you would like to ask Prashant? Any question that has come up where we should ask Prashant or Neetu? And let's have about 2 or 3 questions, then we open it up and request the participants also to participate. Yeah?
Yes, Sushma ji.
Neetu ji, can you come? Neetu ji, can you please switch on your camera?
Yes.
Thank you. Now I can spotlight you.
So
Right. Yes, Sayog ji, boliye.
There's a question from Sneha. My question is that how can I identify my core strengths? Neetu ji talked about, identifying your strengths. So this is the question which has come from Sneha.
Neetu ji, the questions to you about core strengths.
So this is what I would say, right? I don't think anybody else can help do that. What you can do is one thing, do a detailed level of introspection to say what am I good at, right? I think that is important, and what are my areas to improve. There are a lot of I think some tests that you can take that will help determine what your core strengths are, but then these strengths are from a perspective of whether that's your soft skill or hard skill that you're looking at, right? So it can vary. You can branch out based on what is that strength that you're talking about here, because when I talk about core skills, I'm talking about both the hard and the soft skills, right? Hard skills is more like what is your competency, what technologies, for example, because I come from that background, I talk about it more, right? Which industry or sector you're talking about, and then the softer skills can be more like, hey, am I more strategic in nature? Am I more executive? I mean, is execution my strength in nature? Am I more creative in nature, and things like that, right? So determine what that is, and it is not something that you will answer this question overnight. It is going to be a small journey in itself to say that I have to. You may have to end up trying multiple things to say, hey, this is what it seems to be a core strength. This is what seems to be my passion, and this is what something that I can drive towards. Like, say, for example, it took a while for me to try out multiple things to say that, hey, my core strength lies in being creative, ideating, strategizing, and execution. These are my core strength. If you're going to ask me anything else, I will probably say that I can support, but I may not be able to be the primary owner or pick that up as a core responsibility, right? So you may have to complement some of your areas of improvements with the skills that is available around, but you have to sit down to identify, based on maybe the educational background you have, or based on what you are seeing in and around your ecosystem, to say that, hey, my passion seems to be lying out here. But then seriously, right, it's going to be your own calling in terms of what your strengths will lie. So this is my response to the question, Sushma ji, Sayom ji.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Just adding to that, I think maybe we can always ask some people who we really trust to give us some feedback so that we can remove some of our blind spots. Because sometimes we do things, and that's the blind spots is what I'm going to go over to Prashant ji and ask you a question on that. We say when you're inside the bottle, you can't read the label. So a lot of us have very good intentions. We are doing things right from our perspective. हमारा, इरादा गलत नहीं होता है. But what is our behavior? What's the impact of that behavior? And I'll also combine it with a question asked by Nirmal Kumar out here. And he says, I've been working as a legal trainee for the past 11 months. I've completed my law almost a year back. Now, company is asking me to continue the same position for 6 more months, right? I'm hesitating to work on the same role as it is not considered in PQE. Okay, what factors should I consider to decide? So similarly, I'm sure there are times when we talk about glass ceiling things. You mentored so many, you've been in so many companies, you've seen people's careers go up, and there are some that become stagnant.
So interestingly,
what could be the blind spots?
Yeah, I'll take this question first on 11 months and 6 more months extension being offered today. In my mind, I usually spend energy only if I have to decide. Now, there are times that we have to keep thinking, but that thinking will not help if there is a decision to be taken. And the decision can be taken when you have options. So you have given one option, continue for 6 months. Now, maybe there is the second option to say join some other job offer if you have, or study further. So question is, what are the options? What you need to decide upon, and when do you need to decide upon? So unless you are at the point of decision, asking questions may not really add a value unless you are clear on the options on the table. So I would say, please put down your options. One option seems okay, there is a concrete offer, 6 more months. Is there a concrete alternative proposal that you need to choose from now? If not, I would just extend 6 more months till the time I have a concrete second option to evaluate. I think that's the way I would help in the decision process to say I can only choose between concrete options. Sometimes you may want to study further, that's a different option. Then you have to make a choice between the options. So if there's only one option, it's hard to make a choice. If you have multiple options, for sure you can decide. So that was on that. Second, I pick on the feedback, right? So I personally believe that the people that I work with, I need to be very open and transparent on what I feel, how I feel, and why I feel. And I'll give you an example. I was working with one of my bosses when I was sent to him. I was a top talent sent by the super boss to work for a middle boss. That's a bad situation to be in because this guy will always think कि उसका आदमी है, मेरे नीचे जासूस है. Now, this guy was always insulting me in meetings. He was insulting me in meetings because he felt कि ये market का slide तो इसने बनाया मुझे नहीं पता. In my view, market is something else. So I would prepare everything, show it to him before the meeting, but he would still not see anything, go into the meeting and do something else. So I had no clue how to work with him. I was on one of those multiple points that I had in my life of frustration to see, to hell with it, I should quit. So I was riding back with him to the airport from the office. I got in the car with him. I said, boss, what is the problem that you have with me? Do you want me to resign? I will offer my resignation letter to you right now. but I'm not very sure why you are insulting me in every meeting by rejecting any presentation that I make. Tell me what I can do differently. Now, the moment I asked this question, he became defensive. No, no, no. Yeah, no, Prashant. It is what? It's a matter of trust. Trust builds on time. But you should know me. I'm just like that. It is my nature. I don't mean that. And he suddenly became super defensive. He tried to justify that why he did that. But honestly, thereafter, he stopped insulting me in meetings, and I understood that fine, and he started taking me seriously. So sometimes, you have that frustration you can keep with you, but addressing it with a simple question and openly having a candid conversation on what you're feeling helps you to solve complex problems. So we hit off pretty well after that, I must say. And he did work around, and I was able to also understand how he works, and I learned a lot of things from him as well. But I just wanted to say that at times it's important to have that open conversations, to just address your feeling with a person that you're not comfortable with. Now about feedback, right?
Mm.
This was feedback that I gave to the boss on how I feel. But one rule that I have, if I am into a meeting and I see one of my team member not doing well or being lazy or not prepared or maybe making a comment which was awkward, not appropriate for the moment, I would normally give the feedback the same day. So that when I have my 6 months appraisal with him, I don't have to start afresh and write down stories. He knows what I've already told him, what I think about it,
Mm.
and clarify. Did you intend to do it? Why did you do that? So that if it was my misperception, I would clarify it. The second thing that I do constantly is when I give feedback to my team member, I also ask for his feedback. Is it something I can do as a boss to help you perform better?
Mm.
Do you think I can do some things differently so that as a team we can perform better? So feedback is not always about position of strength. It's always being humble and receiving so that you can also form a better picture about yourself. So that has
Yeah.
helped me always to understand what people think about me, have a very open conversation, friendly atmosphere, be very open and candid with the team members, and be able to be yourself, which is so important. Not to act as somebody else, but just be yourself. It helps you to have that open conversations around.
Sure. Thank you so much. So combining both of your answers, it's all about knowing our strengths, being open to feedback, putting our ego aside, and when there is something really bothering you about somebody else, call it out. Have a conversation with them. Sort
See,
it
only
out.
one thing I just want to add on the core strength.
Mm.
I have always had a career from automation and drives, industrial products, to a corporate strategy planning, from corporate strategy planning to oil and gas, a very different sector, in a process equipment capex, from product to projects. Then I went to renewable energy, complete EPC. Now, what I see in that career, which has got such a diverse sector, then I went from renewable energy to fossil power. From fossil power, then I came to manage general management and so on and so forth. So I've done sales, I've done product lifecycle management, I've done product management, I've done team leadership, general management, P&L in different sectors now. But when I look back at my career, it has not always been like the hockey stick that Neetu mentioned initially. So when I was doing very well in industrial products, automation and drives, I had an offer from strategy planning to join them. My aspiration was I don't want to do product sales for my life. And the reason I felt like that was that I want to grow, number one. Number two, product I sell to a dealer or to a plant manager or to a production manager. I am not able to meet the CXO. And I used to look at the other business where they were selling large projects and they used to wear tie, go into the boardroom, meet the CXO. And I liked that. I wanted that. That is what I was aspiring for. How do I get there? Now the question was, how do I get there?
Mm.
From organic growth, I could not have got there because I was in product business for almost 10 years of my life. I could not have got there. Thankfully, when I joined Siemens in Mumbai, my manager, when I joined him, the other manager from strategy planning called me to join him. But I said, look, I'm not ready yet to join strategy planning. I have joined this position. There is a learning in this position of team leading, and there is a learning of upcountry, and there is a learning of channel. I want to do that then I will join you, but I will not join you today. He said, Prashant, yaar, I have a position today. 2 years later, I may not have a position. I said, sir, but today I know I have to learn this. If I join you today, I know I will definitely not be able to learn that. And therefore, once I learn this, I will still take a chance. So after 2003 to 2006, 3 years in that position, I learned everything that I could. I was in a comfort zone. And when I was in a comfort zone and I had this ambition to join INDS or the project business or the Taiwala job to get into the boardroom or to get to connect to CXOs, then I said, okay, I can't do this from products. Maybe if I go to corporate strategy planning, from there I could, get this chance out. So I had a team lead of 25 people reporting to me. I went and met that corporate guy and I told my boss I want to move to corporate. The corporate guy said, thankfully, Prashant, yes, I have a position I can take you. And it worked out fine. But when I went there, I had nobody reporting to me. I was sitting in a corner with no recognition, no value for 2 years. But the amount of learning in the boardroom that I got with the corporate job prepared me for the next leadership position to go into a project business from a product business. And finally, I was able to get into the oil and gas compressor unit with a project sale and a mechanical product, which I never did in my life. But that was a great learning. Again, when I joined there, I was supposed to work as a regional director for process compression in oil and gas. And my boss was supposed to come from Germany, set up the factory as the BU head. And in 2 years, I was supposed to take up from him. When I joined there, this manager never came back, he resigned. And they put a guy who was supposed to retire on my head. In that politics, one of my colleagues said, Arey, why don't you become the BU head right away? I said, look, I'm coming from a position of strength of sales. I don't know factory. I don't know the product. This is not my time to get into a BU role. I'm not ready yet. I again gave up that role for 2 more years, understanding that production sales for learning than to jumping on a position of something that I did not know. So always in my career, I've considered two things. One, what do I know today? But if I take the new role, what will I learn in that? It should always be a combination of position of strength plus learning opportunity. Once you capture that, it's time to move on to the next role. If you don't do that, you will stagnate and you will stop growing in a career. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
That's so amazing. One of the things that a lot of people ask is also, what is growth? Because a number of times we look at growth in a corporate environment or anything in terms of title and going upwards to the ladder. But here in your story, what I'm really picking up is, hey, it's not really necessarily upward growth. It's all about learning. And both of you, Neetu, as well as you, Prashantji, mentioned, कि हाँ भाई comfort zone में पहुंच गए तो problem है. Get out of your comfort zone every time. Think whether you're getting too comfortable. Get to the discomfort, and that's when your learning happens. As they say, there's no comfort in the learning zone, right? And there's no learning in the comfort zone. So being very mindful of time and seeing that there is so much interest still, is it okay to request both of you to stay on for another 10 to 15 minutes? You think will be okay?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Neetuji. Prashantji, would you be okay with that?
Yeah, 10 minutes is good.
10 minutes is good. Yeah, okay. That is also great, 10 minutes. Time is precious. All right. So what we'll do right now is let's do a little bit of formalities which we would like to do, and then we can throw it open and we can go up to 11:40, sorry, and and open it up later for all of you. So what I'm going to do right now is put in the chat box. I'm going to put in the chat box a link to a Google form, which, a number of you are asking questions. How do I join? What is it? And, for us to be in touch with you, we would request you to just give us some of your details and, how you found today's session. There's just a little bit so that we can cater to your needs. Also, it's like, mutual funds sahi hai. अभी यहाँ पर भी आपके करियर प्लान के लिए भी ये म्यूचुअल फंड है और ये आप एसआईपी कर रहे हैं. तो एसआईपी में फर्स्ट इंस्टॉलमेंट है. अभी सेकंड, थर्ड, फोर्थ आ रहा है. So please stay tuned, give us your details, and we will be in touch with you. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Vishalji to just say a formal note of thanks. And then we'll continue with the informally with the questions for Neetu and Prashant. Over to you, Vishal.
Okay, thank you so much, I guess, to everyone for joining. And as Sushma ji mentioned, we were thinking that we talk about compounding, that SIP, if you do 100 rupees per month 10 years back, that would have become so much. That really is the same role of compounding helps in career as well. Career is not about one moonshot, one brilliant idea. It's a daily affair, daily mindset, and a recurring habit of investment and learning. And that's what we are aiming to do. So we are going to be planning that as we talked about level up series. So do share your details. Thank you so much for joining. This was our level up series number 14. And we will now pick up the rhythm every single month. Plus, we will organize some specific sessions around type of questions we saw around career options, education, India, abroad. So we'll come back with that. So thank you everyone for joining. We will continue the session even if we formally close right now for those who can join. Sushma ji, thank you for moderating it so well. Prashant Bhaiya, as always, you always wisdom, pulse of wisdom from you. And Neetu, welcome on the forum and great to hear your thoughts as well here. I do want to thank Sanyog ji here, Rahul and rest of the team working very tirelessly. There are a number of things happening in the background. So we do intend to now take this format also to physical this time around. Last time when we ran it, it was purely virtual because of COVID, but we do intend to really activate that. Kumar Palji and Rajesh and Rahul, I think some of them joined. Kumar Palji, I see. Thank you so much again. And with that, I hand over back to you, Sushma ji.
Thank you. Kumar Palji, would you like to take a minute to just say something? How did you find this? Because your first experience with us.
Well, I've been party to earlier level up series also, Sushmaji. So, yes, as a first time as a chairman, but it was a wonderful, wonderful start and great session. Lovely questions. I mean, diverse questions we were getting. So that was kind of giving us a lot of insights in terms of how each one is viewing this level up series and what are the various sectors where we should keep engaging ourselves, so that's something which was really amazing. I think we should continue this and also take on furthermore steps to add on other verticals to the mentorship itself, like you had planned. So I am so grateful to everybody here who joined and been a party to this wonderful session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Absolutely, And my request to everyone who is present is please spread the word. This whole thing is for you, by you, curated by us. But the more you tell us and more you interact with us, it'll be more focused. And there was Rahulji was also here. Rahulji, would you like to say a few words? Rahul Sanklaji? Okay. So, all right. So I'm not sure whether he's online or not. Okay, with that, then maybe we should just go ahead. And, Prashantji, Neetuji, I mean, I think anyone who would like to ask them a question, they are still here. There are some other mentors too, and I thank all the other mentors who were answering in the chat box and sharing email IDs so that people could reach out to them. Thank you so much, dear mentors. And this is what the community is all about. Just raise your hand and we'll unmute you. We'll request you to unmute and ask the question. And while that's happening, would somebody, one of you, yeah, okay, Sandeep ji, please go ahead.
I want to ask this question to Prashant ji. Actually, I'm in the similar domain. So I'm a mechanical engineer. So Prashant ji, actually, see, right now I'm working in a simulation, mechanical simulation softwares. So here, it is an individual role. I mean, you need a lot of expertise in only one software. So I'm an individual contributor. So I'm not able to grow in that sense, because if you see the corporate ladder, you need to have a team below you. So but since the projects are very complex, I mean, I'm doing the same thing every day, and that is what is expected of me also. So then in the Indian context, because if you see foreign countries, they value the functional expertise, but in India, if you need to grow, then you need to have some team below you, and I mean that is how it is. So how do we? I mean, what should I do?
Yeah, I agree, Sandeep ji, that this is a fair issue. The way I look at career progression is either you have a functional expertise, but the functional expertise ends up to a functional head, like a safety leader or a HR leader. It's a functional leadership. A functional role can at the best get to a functional leadership role. The second role is an expert career path, and expert career path usually is an individual contributor. And when you are usually an individual contributor, unless you have had a demonstrated team leading you, it is very difficult to come out of the individual contributor to get into a leadership role. And especially if you have had 15, 20 years, a team leader is available normally with 8 years experience, 10 years experience at a lower cost than a team leader at say 15, 20 years, and that becomes a career bottleneck. Now, I think we can follow up if you need to, but my advice would be that if your expertise is unique, it still does not stop you from talking to your manager that look, I want to take a mission assignment, a project where I can guide a team of experts in an area, or I will like to offer mentorship. See, volunteering is a great way to show that I am willing to do more. Now that volunteering combined with the talent then helps an organization to recognize that, okay, this guy's volunteering, he wants to do more. What else can I do with him? The second topic is a side step. The way I learned in my career, when I was not even a manager, I became the vice president of my society group. And that vice president of my society group gave me an exposure to so much politics. It taught me so many things I would not have learned at work. So taking that role in my society helped me to learn aspects which opportunity I did not get at work. That is another aspect that I would leave it to you. Third, of course, is that as an expert, if you think your expertise is not at the risk of AI, I think that is an important question for you to answer. That if you think your expertise is not at the risk of AI, the question is who else will pay more for this expertise? That is the way then you have to look at it, because there are global corporations, multinational corporations who have an expert career path and they pay for expertise, and they have a professional career path for experts, a technical leader, a global technical leader, control technical leader, and there are various aspects and ladder for a expert career path as well. So maybe that would be another option I would leave at the table for you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandeep ji, for attending and the question. I would request Saurabh Jain, if Saurabh Jain is still here. Saurabh Jain here. Saurabh Jain, would you like to unmute and ask your question directly? Okay, maybe on Saurabh's behalf, because I do see him here. My business is an infant stage. We are a team of 5 people in design and construction industry. Have really big dreams and want to go global. Team building is very challenging, especially when you operate in tier 2 city and trying to innovate. Presently focused on building systems and team, but really nothing is working out. Feeling the heat with basics, how to proceed without wasting any more time. So I'll help you with the team building. Come. But anyways, Prashant ji and Neetu ji, who would like to take this one?
I think he is not in the meeting anymore. Is he still in the meeting?
He seems to be. I mean, he's not left the meeting. Yes, his answer in the chat box. Yes, he's there.
So I think it's a very complex question. I would leave you with 3 questions. First, with your solution, what is the problem that you're going to solve? I think it's very important for you to find. It is very important for you to be able to identify what is the problem that you're going to solve. If that problem that you're going to solve is inspiring, it is going to make the design and construction industry better, and it is going to help the humanity. An inspirational story is always inspiring and people want to latch onto it and work onto it. So that's the first important question. If you can tell that story great to your 5 team members, only then you can spread the story outside. So I think it's very important to have a compelling story. For a startup, that's the first thing to do. Have a compelling solution or a compelling story or the problem that you're going to solve. And that should be so nice that people want to listen to the story again and again. So sharpen that story. I don't know if you have that one. The second is how scalable is it? Is this story same only for a particular city or for a state or for a country or the world? If that problem you're going to solve is cultural, only in India, not outside India, it will not be a global problem to be solved. I think it's very important to then validate and quickly check if that problem is really a problem from an outside in perspective. So quick fail fast and try fast and fail fast. Those are the 2 things I can give at this point in time, but I'm happy to connect at some other time and offer a one-to-one mentoring if needed. Yeah. So for now, I think this is what I would like to share.
Thank you so much. And it
Sushma ji,
was
can I
micro, yeah,
chime in
एक
here?
second, वो microphone नहीं काम कर रहा था इसलिए वो नहीं आ पाए. But yeah, you can always connect. Yes, Neetu ji, please go ahead.
So based on what I'm reading, right, there are few things that I'm seeing like challenging. Team building is a challenge. Operating in tier 2, trying to innovate, right? Can we define them? What is the challenge? Like Prashant ji also said initially, name your emotion, right? And then name it. So can we define those challenges? Because it's such a broad term. Until you start putting those in black and white, put them down on paper, and then you will figure out if you have defined it correctly, you probably have solved it, 50% of the time, right? What are the limitations that tier 2 is offering today? Why do you call it that you're operating in tier 2 and there is a challenge out there in team building? And innovation is such an abused and an over abused term. Break that down as well. What is it that you're trying to innovate here, right? I think some of those things might probably give some answers to say where they might be headed and what those challenges can potentially look like before they can, good to have those big dreams, good to go bang on global, but some of these, small things, right, can potentially help them in the long run. That's my humble take.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm sure, Saurabh, yeah, you got this. Yeah. And just if you can, Prashant ji, just 1 second. Amit ji, is your question, please, to Prashant ji? Or
Yeah,
thank you
my
so much for
question.
joining us, Amit ji. You're a wonderful mentor too.
Thank you, Sushma ji. And my question is to Prashant ji. From quick question, Prashant ji, what I see in the corporate world is a lot of corporate politics, which is pretty evident. You have grown the career uh, through these large organizations and reached the pinnacle, heading the MD and CEO of a GE large corporation like GE and all. So, how do you manage as a as an individual where I don't have somebody who is my what do you say godfather in an organization, but and therefore, how do you manage the politics to reach the top?
So, very interestingly, Amitji, my pleasure to meet you again. If I look at my Siemens career, I had a godfather in Siemens, but that godfather was only there until my progression to a team leader. Thereafter, I moved away from industry to energy sector, and I then did not have a godfather. The one who brought me there quit the company. The second stage, what happened was, then I got new godfather in energy sector who liked me, who sponsored me, but he wanted to become the MD. The CFO wanted to become the MD. The CFO became the MD. He quit and he left. Now the MD who was the CFO, he said, Prashant to uska aadmi hai. I want to do a test of everybody in the team now and check if they are really fit to be the leaders in the company. So he spent 5 lakh rupees with a testing agency called DDI to check if we were capable to continue the job or not. And we went through that assessment to actually prove that we were capable. And that was a very frustrating time for me. At that point, I was literally saying, I have to quit. I can't continue this company anymore. So when I was about to quit, very frustrated that why should I prove myself? I was not even, that guy was not even my godfather. And I have nothing to do with your politics between CFO and MD. Why am I now suddenly to be tested if I am capable or not? ये मेरे ऊपर कैसे आ गया? But it is what it is, right? So one thing which I found eventually is that as an organization, there are always alliances. There are always alliances. There is always a possibility of alliance.
Sorry, you want to turn off mute.
You
Prashant.
got muted.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, organization always have alliances, and therefore, it is important never to openly come out with any alliance. You never know which alliance will say what. You can never trust anybody. But what you can trust is what you have said. What you can trust is what you believe, and you can trust in your vision. So what happened is when I was with this boss in Baroda, who was supposed to retire, and I was supposed to become the BU head, was not retiring. Every year they were giving extension, and he was not investing in the factory which was supposed to be invested in, and that was causing me a lot of frustration. So finally, I escalated to the next level. I said, "This is not working. Business will die. You have said I will become the business unit head. If I become the business unit head, I am in the same business which is suffering today. You will say कल क्यों नहीं बताया था तो मैं ही फंसूंगा. This was not going in the right direction. I want to leave." He said, "Prashant, give me some time, blah 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 blah," and then the entire organization broke loose. "Prashant, किसी और को तो नहीं बोला तूने?" Then HR came and asked me, "Prashant, किसी और से तो बात नहीं करी तूने? We should not create an issue out of it. Please be quiet. Don't talk about it." So at that time, I went through a very difficult time personally, and it was very frustrating, stressful. Then there was a position that opened up. So I was regional director sales, a position of business development, renewable energy that opened up. And I moved to that position and I applied. The bosses then discovered कि यार प्रशांत ऐसा नहीं है, उसको fire कर देंगे, तेरे को position दे देंगे. But the place caused so much frustration to me personally. I felt I was not being healthy. And I wanted to solve my problem first. I said I want to be healthy first. The frustration was why? Because I will get that job, and that was causing frustration. If I would have not had that thing in my mind, I would have just done my job at my level. I would have been okay. I think the frustration was because of that. कि यार मेरा position होगा, मेरा title होगा तो मैं फंस जाऊंगा. That was causing the frustration. So when I moved to renewable energy business development, I gave up my ambition for title. I gave up my ambition for position. I gave up my ambition for chasing anything in my career in my life. And this happened in 2010. 2010, I gave up. I will not run by ambition. I will not run to chase a title or a position. Then what will I do? I said, I will become a leader like Mahatma Gandhi, who did not have a title, who did not have a position, but he had a strong influence. Now, Mahatma Gandhi had an influence because he was able to share a vision and everybody wanted to go in that same vision. He never had a position of power or responsibility, but had a great influence. I said, okay, fine. I have a vision for renewable sector. I will share my vision and let me see who all will follow me. And I will stick true to my vision and I will fight for it. Now, the moment I started writing my vision with my values, with my trust, I found everybody came and supported, came along, not only inside, but also from the government, also from the industry bodies and forums, the talent who wanted to work in the sector. They said, "Nahi sir, ye barabar aise hi karna hai." And I got that support, and thereafter I'm free. I must honestly say. Thereafter, my career is free of chasing for titles, chasing for positions and bodies. There are frustrating moments, but I just need to meditate, understand why am I getting frustrated, and then clarify, talk openly, find out and solve. But then my career has actually soared off significantly thereafter than before.
So thank you so much, Prashantji.
So thank you so much, Amitji, and thank you. And I think being extremely mindful, I know we took a little extra time, and I really appreciate the fact that Prashantji, Neetuji, you put in so much effort and you are here to guide all of us. And we know that we can always reach out to you for guidance and, you know, the mentoring, because both of you have done lots of mentoring and are passionate about mentoring and helping everyone else. And Prashantji, you were even into reverse mentoring. Huh? Great. So thanks so much. And with that, I think we should formally end, being mindful, and we'll stop the recording. Ritika, please. We'll just stay for, you know, please feel free to leave. But those who would like to have any questions about what the mentorship program is, not questioning about mentoring, but anything about the mentorship program or anything, for another 5 minutes, I think the team, Vishalji, Sayog, me, we'll just stay on and to answer any of your questions with regards to mentoring and the mentorship program.
I'll take your leave.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Prashant.